Life can challenge us in many ways. Sometimes it works out in our favor, other times it doesn't. Our featured guest today overcame some trying times and body image issues to become one of the top fitness experts and models in America. She's with us today to share her story and fitness tips. I'm Mike Tucker, and we're here to help you create your best life possible.
This is Lifestyle Magazine with your hosts, Dr. Charmaine Long, Obi DK, Lionel LaMountain, and Mike and Gail Tucker.
Kim Dolan Leto once faced some definite life challenges. As a result, she found herself out of shape and overweight. But now, after turning 40, she has become a stunning fitness personality, and she's the Director of Family Health and Wellness for the International Sports Sciences Association. Kim, we are so happy to have you here.
Welcome, Kim.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such a blessing to be here.
Well, we are so glad. Now, I know you guys are already acquainted.
She looks a little familiar, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I haven't met you before, so I really want to hear your story. Now, you know, you are so beautiful and so fit, and people look at you and think, oh, I'm sure she's just always been that way. That's just natural for her. But that's not necessarily the case, right?
Oh, thank you for the compliment. But it's not the case. I really went through a big transformation, and it started off with my father actually suffering a stroke.
Oh my goodness.
And he was only 47 years old. So at his bedside at the time, I had been living my life up until that point. I was in my early 30s, and I had not been taking care of myself at all. I was working for a pharmaceutical company. I was just in that kind of grind of life where we're not eating right. Maybe we're skipping meals all day long, eating a big meal at night. We're not exercising. We're not taking care of our physical health.
Yeah.
And at that time, I had gotten a high cholesterol reading, and it was just shocking to me to see my dad laying there. He had paralysis all down one side of his body and his face.
Wow.
And here I have high cholesterol. So it was a call to action to me that I needed to take care of my health.
So young and yet high cholesterol.
When you were overweight, and how many pounds were you overweight, by the way?
You know, that's an interesting question, because I will honestly say that I didn't really weigh myself, and I was so ashamed of my weight that I would stand backward on the scale. But I will say that I took my measurements, and I lost, it was about 6.5 inches in my waist, to give you an idea of how much weight I lost.
Wow.
When you looked at yourself in the mirror when you were in this overweight state, what did the mirror tell you? How did you feel about yourself? Because you said your dad was what precipitated you making the change. But did you ever see yourself as overweight?
Oh, Obi, that's such a good question, because my heart aches for women that are going through, I get emails a lot, for how I know how I felt then. And I would stand in the closet and try to get dressed, and I just felt so like, how do I hide this weight? And I saw my clothes size going up, and I just felt uncomfortable in my clothes. And I felt really unattractive and really kind of ashamed. And coincidentally, around that time, I became a Christian. And I feel like walking with God really helped me see myself in the Word versus the world. So there was a big transformation there also going on inside while I went through my physical transformation.
You know, so many people relate to that. I relate to that because, you know, I've always struggled with weight, and you just can't even hardly stand to think about going out. You don't want anybody to see you. What are you going to look like? So it's really tough.
How were you able to overcome that, being overweight? What exactly did you do that enabled you to get out of there and look the way you do now?
You know, honestly, I think people may see me on this side of it and not understand that I have literally failed my way to success. And I'm still failing. I still, you know, gain weight and lose weight. For me, my body is naturally, I tend to be a little bit heavier, and my mom is Hispanic, and my dad is French, and my family, most of them are all overweight, and so it's just this thing that I feel like I'm constantly fighting, and I know a lot of people can, you know, identify with that in me, that we're always, you know, fighting this.
It's constant. What did you do? Now, give us some specifics about how you changed things.
The way that I had to change things, and I feel like the only way that it works, is for you to find, you may have the how-to. Obi and I can give you an amazing workout plan, but if you don't have the want to, and you don't know how to put it into your actual daily life,
Yeah.
it gets lost in translation.
It does.
When you're standing in the grocery store and you're like, okay, Obi told me to eat this, but there's 70 brands and what ingredients and how many carbs can I have and how much fat? Until you can make it applicable in your real life,
Yeah.
it can't become your lifestyle.
That's
and
right.
that is what we need to do, because that's where we find success. So that's what I did. I found recipes of the foods I loved, pizza, tacos, you name it. I'm not gonna go without the foods that I love. So putting this into practice is learning how to make those foods that you love in a healthy way,
There you go.
and finding exercise that you enjoy that you'll do, or it's not going to happen. Because we all can just say, oh, it's eat less, work out more.
Right.
But you've
Yeah.
got to find that want to.
Exactly.
And you need to find how to make this happen in your daily life.
Well, and so many people have tried everything. You know, I've tried this, I've tried that, I tried that plan and that plan, and spent a ton of money. You know, and the bottom line is, as Obi talks about, is, you know, the right nutrition plus exercise.
Right.
And yet, we need some help with that, don't we?
Absolutely. Have you ever experienced a yo-yo effect where you lose weight and you gain weight and you lose weight and you gain weight?
Absolutely.
Did that happen through that transitional process from being overweight to being in great shape now?
You know what, I actually decided, because of how much I rode that emotional roller coaster of dieting and the physical and emotional torment that a woman goes through when you lose that 10 pounds for your reunion and then you gain it all back. And
Almost
you're
immediately.
Right, and you're standing in the closet thinking, gosh, what happened? How you feel like a failure. But I think it's really important to, for me, I share this acronym with so many women. I came up with an acronym called SAFE, and I surrender my appetite faithfully every day. I say that
Say it
prayer.
again.
Surrender appetite faithfully every day. And I'm surrendering it to God, because I can't do it in willpower. Diets are based on willpower. They're based on 12 weeks. And for me, what's helped me get healthy is recognizing that this is a walk that I'm going to take spiritually. And that's the only way that it's going to work, because I don't have the discipline. I need to be powered by God a little bit more, because I don't have my own, I can't do it in my own strength.
Divine
That is
intervention.
great
Yes.
advice.
Yeah.
We're going to have to take a break.
Okay.
But we'll be back with the whole crew right after this.
We've been talking about how to get motivated to get fit and to stay fit with fitness expert Kim Dolan Leto. You were talking earlier about the whole SAFE concept. Would you review that for us again? I think that's perfect.
Absolutely. I came up with this SAFE acronym because I was really struggling with, you know, I had this diet plan. I was like, how do I fit this into my actual life? How do I make this work for me? And like I mentioned, I was kind of failing my way to success. So I came up with SAFE, stands for surrendering appetite faithfully every day.
That's great.
And
The everyday part is huge, isn't it?
Because that's where we get results, is in the everyday decisions. It's those little decisions we make all day long that are taking us to our goals or away from them.
It also acknowledges, though, that this thing can be bigger than you.
It is much bigger.
And so, since it's bigger than you, you need someone bigger than you on your side to help kick it.
Absolutely.
And so that's a beautiful, beautiful concept.
Why do you think food and weight is such an emotional issue for us?
Well, we need to eat. It's not like, you know, a lot of people are
That's the problem.
struggling with addiction, so
And
we
it tastes so
have to
good,
eat.
doesn't it, Mike?
It does.
And line now.
Why are you looking at me?
Include
You
both
can't
of
just say, I'm like a cigarette, I'm never going to smoke a cigarette
Right,
again. You have to
right.
eat again.
Right, and that's what makes it so difficult, is that we are faced with this decision all throughout the day. And when we feel sad, what do? Or if we feel, you know, like we want to celebrate, usually we go out to eat. And sometimes when we're feeling sad, we kind of need to address those emotional issues rather than feeding them with food.
Okay.
It doesn't really work with feeding them with food for me. I find myself eat and feel better and feel really good. Then 10 minutes later, it felt worse than it did before when I had the cupcake or the, you know.
Exactly, that's what it does.
It's really a problem from childhood, though. You think about how we reward our kids. We often reward them with food.
Yeah.
We do.
You know, some big accomplishment, we go out for ice
have a
cream.
treat.
Or, yeah.
I used to cry when I didn't get McDonald's.
You used to cry?
I used to cry if I didn't get a Big Mac or a hamburger
paid
when I
money
was
to see
5,
that.
6 years old. So yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
We learned earlier what you saw in the mirror before you lost the weight. I'm just curious, what do you see in the mirror now when you look into it?
Now I feel much more peace. Obviously, I still struggle because I I live in this world and we're subjected to images, and I'm 45 years old. You know, I had a baby and I had to go through that again, and there was that fear, am I going to gain weight? And I just feel like it's something we're constantly subjected to, but we really need to take our focus off who we are in the world and put it on who we are in the Word.
And who does God say that you are?
We're fearfully and wonderfully made. We're beautiful to Him.
But you've really reduced this down to something very important. And again, I've often said that every problem at its core is a spiritual problem. I really believe that with all of my heart.
Absolutely true.
But that is true with our weight as well, with our fitness. It all comes back to that issue of spirituality. We see ourselves as He sees us, and it begins to change everything, doesn't it?
It does. I feel very liberated. So when He asked me, what do you see in the mirror? The word that came to mind was, I'm liberated. I feel free. I
love that.
I try to, that's what I try to see. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm perfect. There are days where I really do struggle, and there is that constant, I'm in the fitness industry. I'm 45 years old. I'm asked to shoot in fitness clothing, and that's, it's tough because I'm not 22 years old. And, but I know that I'm more than what I look like, and I have an important message to deliver.
It's encouraging to me, though, that you struggle. I feel better about you already, and I feel better about me.
She doesn't struggle as much as you or I do, probably.
You have, Kim, you have a better body now, over 40, than you did when you were in your 20s and your 30s. What exactly did you do? How can someone who is getting to that 40, 50-year range, how can they say, you know what, I can look like Kim? What exactly did you do? Because that's unusual. Most people, their best years are in their 20s and 30s, and 40s, 50s, 60s, it's, you know, it's a different body.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, Lionel. And
Go right ahead.
I still love you guys, by the way.
I think some really practical things that you can do in your daily life are to find recipes for the foods that you love to eat. If you don't put this into your real life, like I said earlier, we can give you an amazing how-to plan.
Sure.
But if you don't know how to put it in your life, it's not going to work. So finding a workout that you love, we all have that inner athlete in us. I've met women in their 70s that have taken up hiking or dance classes, and just feeling alive again and getting that endorphin release does wonders for us. The other component, other than having to know the how-to, the recipes, and finding your inner athlete, is really harnessing that want-to. And as a mother, nothing makes me want to live long and be healthier than my daughter.
Yeah.
So when I look at my blood profile now, that's much more important to me than any other number. So I think motivating ourselves from a health perspective, not from a physical how do I look perspective, because just because you have abs does not mean you're healthy.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's about health. And so we want to have low cholesterol. We want to have a low resting heart rate. We want to have low blood pressure. And those things come from dealing with stress properly. And my biggest one, too, is my daughter.
I am so thankful you've made this point. It's not about how you look, it's about how you feel. Am I healthy? Rather than do I look great in a dress or in a suit or something in that nature? Do I look great on the beach? Thank you for making that point. That's important. We're going to take a break now. And when we come back, Obi and Kim are going to show you some of their favorite workout moves.
We are back. You know, we talked about Kim's emotional journey, but now she's going to help us get in great shape. Kim, can you show us some exercises to help us get in great shape inside our living room?
I absolutely can. I am emailed daily with questions regarding our lower body and especially our lower ab area. So each of these issues address those key muscle groups to help us lean them out and tone them in. The first exercise we're going to do is called an around the world squat. It's great for addressing all of the lower body muscles and especially the lower abs, which I hear about constantly. So we're going to go ahead and squat down, and we're going to kick straight out with the right leg. We're going to squat down again and kick out to the side.
Okay.
We're going to follow up with kicking out back, and then we're going to repeat that on the same or on the opposite leg. What this does is it hits every major muscle group.
What happens if you've got bad knees and you can't go too low?
If you've got bad knees, you can modify this. You just go to your comfort zone.
Okay.
You don't want to continue past your level of pain. You never want to feel pain.
Okay.
So we always stop at that
The
point.
kicks have to be really high or low, or
not at all. But you want to make sure that your core is tight and zipped
Okay.
up,
All right.
that your chest is open, and especially on that rear kick, that you're squeezing through the backside.
Okay.
So all around is one set.
One set.
Yes.
Okay. How many repetitions would you say?
I would say do 3 to 5 of those, and then just see how you feel, but always take a break if you're feeling tired.
Okay, let's say I'm 3 to 5 is kind of easy. How can I build up to 10 to 12 repetitions or even higher? Or what would you
Absolutely,
say?
and you can add some weight to it.
Okay.
Adding weight is always a great way. Just put some dumbbells in your hands to make it a little bit tougher.
Show us another exercise you
Sure.
have for us.
These are great because you can do these in a small area as well. It's just a lateral side-to-side lunge.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that your knee doesn't go over your toe,
Okay.
and then you're just going to switch positions. You're going to go to the middle, into the side, and side.
Okay.
Keep this leg straight. There you go. Did you feel that stretch?
I do.
Do you feel that in your... It's really good to keep your chest open and your back muscles contracted as well. And your core tight.
Hopefully I don't slip off this mat.
So I would do these about 30 on each side.
Okay.
And another exercise that's great is that it's so often that we need to add muscle because more muscle mass means more caloric burn.
Absolutely.
So the last one we're going to do is called a sumo squat. And we're going to squat down and we're just going to jump because anytime we're doing little pulsing jumps, we're adding muscle. This is plyometric exercises. Do you feel that?
Oh, I feel that. I feel that in my butt, in my legs, my calves.
Yeah, it's a really, really good workout. Anytime we're adding that jumping exercise, we're adding muscle mass.
How long should we be jumping for?
I would say 15 to 30 seconds.
Okay. Do you have any more exercises? I'm breathing hard now.
I sure do.
You
That's
worked
good.
me.
The last one, let's end in plank position.
Okay.
Now, if you need to modify this, you can always go down on one knee. But what we're going to do is we're going to lift our right leg and to make sure our foot is flat and kick up. You can do this in plank position or modified. And I would do about 15 of these on each side. And these are great for your whole backside, your core, upper body strength, and then you can switch. You feeling that, Obi?
I can feel it. Never done this exercise before. This is a new one.
It's a good one, right, in plank?
Yeah, I've done the plank, but not the kicking out one.
Yeah.
Well, I'm learning too.
So then you can do those 4 exercises. I would suggest doing a 1-minute warm-up and a 1-minute cool down.
When you're doing this exercise, by the way, does your back have to be completely flat?
It should be.
Because I actually felt, because I hadn't done that exercise before, it felt unusual. I didn't feel like my back was completely flat. So let's just say for a beginner that may not be able to get in that position, if their form is a little off, is that okay? Or
No, absolutely not. You always want to modify and go at your own pace.
Okay, what's the modified version of that? Can you show us that?
I believe, yes.
Did
You
show
just
us
go
that
down
already?
on one knee,
Okay.
like this.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.
It's an incredible exercise. I'm breathing hard. Hope you enjoyed them. If you guys are interested in following Kim for free health and wellness and fitness tips, you can follow her on Twitter and on Facebook. Also with myself, if you're interested in the same thing, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. I hope you enjoyed this workout with Kim. Fabulous stuff. Lionel, take it away.
Viktor Frankl survived the Holocaust. You can read about his story in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. The Nazis took everything from him, his home, his career, his possessions. Sadly, he lost all of his family. And one day when he was feeling very sad, as we would, I imagine, if we were in his situation, and down and destitute, he realized there was one thing the Nazis couldn't take from him, and that was his attitude. Specifically, his perspective about what he was going through would mean to him. So this is what he did to survive the concentration camp. Viktor Frankl says he looked to the future, and he imagined himself standing in these grand lecture halls around the world, telling audiences about his story, of what life was like in the concentration camp. And he felt compelled to tell his story. He must tell his story because he had to protect future generations from ever going through what he'd been through. And it was looking to the future and choosing a very specific meaning of what it meant to him that he was going through that allowed him to survive those concentration camps. Now, it's true, we can't always control our situations, but we can always control our attitude. And there are two questions I found helpful that help me choose empowering meanings to what I'm going through. The first question is this: what does this situation mean? Likely, whatever you think it means is what's lying right under the surface. It's what it means at face value. But to do what Frankl did, we asked the second question: what could it mean? If we looked for the silver lining, if we made this situation serve us and the greater good of humanity, what could it mean? As we ask this question and identify an empowering perspective, we maintain control of our lives and our destinies. Give yourself the gift of this breakthrough and start living your life to the fullest today.
We have thoroughly enjoyed talking with Kim Dolan Leto, and we want to know what your takeaway from this is, guys. What do you get from this?
I think the takeaway is to make sure that you have a healthy body. Instead of worrying about how you look or how other people perceive you, concentrate more on how you feel and trying to make sure that your health overall is good.
Yeah.
You know, I think the other thing is to realize that there is a higher power to help us, that God is there to help us. Any diet plan will work if you stay with it, pretty much, but staying with it is the key, and God can help with that.
Yeah.
I think the greatest thing is we all struggle in life in regards to our own bodies. I think the biggest thing is to know that you can overcome it if you believe in yourself and ultimately not being influenced by outside people and just trying to be the best you.
Mm-hmm. Best you.
Yeah.
For me, it was the higher reason. I totally resonate with what you said, being there for your children. I was just smart enough to have my child when I was 40. The only regret I have is having him when I was 40. Wish I'd had him, 15 years before that, because I missed all of that time with my son. So now, I want to be healthy so I can be around a long time to enjoy every minute with my son.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Kim, you got one last little nugget for us? Maybe a 10, 20-second nugget real quick?
I do.
What's that?
I think people should really just entertain the idea of stopping the 12-week diet plans and all the diet plans and just think about making their health a godly lifestyle and honoring Him in their choices.
Good thought. Good
Huge.
thought. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this, and you, Kim, especially. And thank you for being a part of this as well. We look forward to seeing you again next time. But until then, you take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
To get a copy of today's offer, call 888-940-0062 and be sure to visit our website at lifestyle.org.